department can maintain some really cool information that's kind of static. So information that doesn't change very often would work well on a wiki. But if your information is changing regularly, and you might say, we're going to have a staff afternoon, we want 20 people, to exaggerate, on this page to edit it, it's not going to happen in a wiki because only one staff member could go in at a time. So this is where you'd think, gee, if it's changing quite often, you'd have a site for that particular person, because 20 people could pile in and make all those changes as necessary. Would I use this with the kids again? I probably would strip out a lot of this, and I would keep all my first aid information. First aid information, funnily enough, doesn't really change all that often. Sometimes we add a D here and another step there, but it doesn't really change all that often. But the other stuff does, so I'd strip it all out and have that as my support for their online work that they do, and that would be the way that I would use this. But it does give you tools that allows you to set up projects and events and assessments, similarly to you would do in, say, Google in the classroom, for example, or Edmodo, etc., on the Google site. So it does give you that level of functionality. But before you go off and invest time in setting up a wiki, really think carefully about the purpose for which you're going to set it up. No, we didn't. It wasn't that sort of a wiki we were setting up. It was really as a place, as I said, we set it up before Google Sites. So it was really just as a place to dump collaborative work that we were doing. So the idea was, we started with first aid, so the kids would go online, they would do their online modules, they would then write their notes and write those notes back into the wiki so that we had all the information that we needed to sit the preliminary course exam, I suppose, and the kids had notes to prepare themselves for the practical work. But we'd never use the discussion because there's really nothing to discuss. But there is a discussion feature. You can host a discussion, you can add. It has new features so that you can make your pages look like a Wikipedia page. You can put in links and attributions and all those good things in it, but it is very limited. So beware, tread carefully with your wiki for that particular purpose. So that's your wiki. The wiki is a little bit different to a blog. Oops, come back. Let's unplug that for a moment. So the wiki is a little bit different to a blog. You can sometimes be fooled into looking at blogs and go, oh, that looks exactly like a website. And some people do set those up like a little mini website. And there's probably nothing wrong with that. Not to say how people use it, but here's a little vid.
You've seen the word, you've seen the websites, and you may even have one. But have you ever wondered, what's the
deal about blogs? This is Blogs in Plain English. To make sense of blogs, you have to think about the news and who makes it. We'll look at news in the 20th century versus the 21st century to make our point. In the 20th century, the news was produced professionally. When news happened, reporters wrote the stories and a tiny group of people decided what appeared in a newspaper or broadcast. Professional news was mainstream, general, and limited. The 21st century marked the point where news became both professional and personal. A new kind of website called a weblog, or blog for short, came onto the scene that let anyone be a reporter and publisher, often for free. As blogs became popular, they created millions of news sources that gave everyone an audience for their own version of news. Of course, we're using the word news loosely, but really, isn't everything news to someone? With a blog, a business owner can share news about his business. A mother can share news about her family, or a sports star can share news with fans. These people are all bloggers. How did this happen? Well, blogs made sharing news on the web easy. Anyone with an idea can start a new blog with the click of a button and share news minutes later. Here's how blogs work. Blogs are websites that are organized by blog posts. These are individual news stories, like articles in the paper. Bloggers simply fill out a form like this one to post a news story. With the click of a button, the blog post appears at the top of the web page, just above yesterday's news. Over time, the blog becomes a collection of these posts, all archived for easy reference. Also, each blog post can become a discussion through comments left by readers. Blogs make the news a two-way street. But really, the fuss is not about how blogs work. It's about what people like you do with them that matters. Let's say you have a blog about green living and outdoor photography. It reflects your unique perspective. This helps you build relationships with your readers and other bloggers with similar interests. Speaking of relationships, bloggers often work together. In addition to comments, you'll read each other's posts, quote each other, and link your blogs together. This creates communities of bloggers that inspire and motivate each other. Whether it's their ease of use or the opportunities they offer, blogs have been adopted in a very big way. Since 2003, there have been over 70 million blogs created, each with its own version of news. So the big deal about blogs is that they gave people like you the power of the media and created a personal kind of news that appeals to a high number of small audiences. So, it's up to you. What will you do with this new power? There is likely a group of people out there who want to hear what you have to say. You can search for blogs using Google's blog search or Technorati. You can also start your own blog for free at Blogger or WordPress.com. I'm Lee Lefevre, and this has been Blogs in Plain English on the Common Craft Show.
Harry, you've been experimenting with blogs. Do you want to explain what you guys have been doing?
In my Year 11 visual art classes, we're looking at ways of actually getting the kids to save all their, I suppose, research on the internet where they find lots of their imagery in one place where they can find it really easily. What tends to happen is they go, oh, miss, I was on Instagram or I was on Pinterest and I found this really great image. And you go, right, show it to me. Well, hang on, and then they can't find it. So what I had set up with the kids was just using Blogger, which is part of the whole Google platform. And what some of the kids have started, not all of them, some of them have gone, no, I don't really know what to do yet, I'm not going near it. But some of them have just taken to it like ducks to water. And they're finding it a lot easier because they've realised that they can carry their phones around with them. And there's an app for their phone as well. So they're out and about, they go to the gallery, they're at their army's place, and they see something that's visually stimulating and they're photographing it and uploading it straight away. And what they're getting better at doing is actually documenting their thinking processes. So when they're annotating and they're talking about the creative process, there's a lot more depth starting to become evident in what they're doing, which is really where ideally I would like them to go. So for me, in my classroom situation, it's starting to look a lot more user-friendly than just using a book. And if they forget their books, it doesn't matter because they've got the stuff there that you can quickly see. And the other lovely thing is, I can get online and have a look at their blog anytime I like. Some of them have chosen not to use Blogger. Some go, it's too limiting in its presentation and have chosen Tumblr instead. At the moment, it doesn't seem to be an issue for me. Tumblr is more visually interesting to look at, but it's completely up to the kids as well. The underlying thing for me is them keeping all their digital and the images of their own look they're creating in one place that we can find really easily.
Okay, so thank you, Kerry. This is this is kind of what it looks like. This is Samar's journal, her IRP journal that we started. And we gave the kids some questions just to help them along because a lot of them didn't know what to write about. As Kerry said, the great thing about it is that you can leave your comments. So when you go and you read the kids' work, you can go in and say what's going on, give them some advice, where are you up to.
Just on that point too, but when it comes to like auditing, you need to have evidence or feedback to your kids on a regular basis. If you've got something electronic which you're looking at and commenting on, it's there as evidence.
Yeah, no, it's great. It works really, really well. And one of the things that Ryan said to me was, we do these concepts over and over. Why isn't it that we don't get the kids to write it in a blog and write about it and write about it and write about it? So when they come to do it again in year 10, they can go back over their blog post and go, oh, yes, I remember what it was that we were actually doing. So it's nice, it's simple. You can structure it, I suppose, Kerry, as much as you want, or you cannot. As I said, we put some questions up for them, and we had 60 girls doing this and 3 teachers reading their blogs. And we used to collect these big journals from the kids, and they were just a waste of time having to read them and those sorts of things. And this is the first time they did them, and some girls did a better job than others. Some were pretty cool. Some were a little bit all over the shop in terms of, I'll just see if I can find one that, I'm not sure if Daniel, so you can do things like stick stuff in there. So we're trying to get kids to bog a little bit more visually by using infographics. So there's one of the kids that used Pictochart to create a simple, first time that they've done it, so they weren't sure exactly how to demonstrate their data, but you can stick stuff in there. You can see that they do write reasonably well, some of them are quite short, you know, tiny, but you can see at least that they've been putting in their, you know, their 8 journal comments, and you can have a look at what they've, oh, my assignment is complete, has been turned in, that's not very good.
Another thing too, it's actually been, I suppose, published out on the web, and they tend to take a lot more care with what they're doing, because it's more than just their teachers that are going to see it, they share it with them. So if someone actually does a search, they can usually get it. So I'm finding that a little bit more aware and thoughtful about the whole process that they're working through. Do you like me to continue?
You keep going, keep going.
I'm just trying to find an example of what one of my girls did.
I do want to do a project. And so I took it on the basis of if I had the evidence for it for the project. So I made all these little video clips and I took photographs and I've got all of my stuff because as I said, I haven't been digital evidence of what I was doing. But I based it on making something that I could use in textbooks. Yeah, and I've actually shared it with the girls and they've watched some of the videos and things like that. And I think that it would be quite useful, especially in year 11 and 12 where I'm asking them to write in a diary at the moment and they're living about it. It's really great at taking photos. And I would use it in my taking photos of their work.
And also what you can do is tell them to go to YouTube and find a particular short video on a particular technique.
That's right.
And then that's then brought in.
Brought
and
into
it's
it.
there.
Yeah.
And when the kid goes, oh, I can't do it, it's like, well, you go and find it and you bring it in. And it makes them, I find, much more in charge of their learning.
Yeah.
And I found this, and I'm really excited about this. And I've got a kid in year 11, Mary Jane, and she's doing this whole thing about migration, and she wants to use paper boats as a part of the process for her installation. And she said, I don't know how to make an origami boat. And I said, well, go and find out. And she said, can't you show me? I said, I can, but I'm not going to. You go and find it yourself. And she not only found one, but she found several different examples, and she was so excited. She was showing everyone how to make all these origami boats. So I really enjoy watching the kickback from the excitement of what they're learning too, and wanting to show their friends. And I'm learning plenty as well, watching them try.
Yes, yeah. And but the beauty of it, as you said, is to have it all in one place because, you know, they've all, like over the holidays, said to me before the holidays, I need to learn to crochet. I want to put some crochet on my, because I told her that if she was going to use lace, that she was going to crochet her own lace. And she took it up and went away, and I quickly showed her a couple of things, but she went away and figured it out more and has learnt to crochet over the holidays. It would be good if she had documented all of the spaces that she walked, which she has. She's got books and things, but you know, she could have brought the videos in that she watched.
Year level she
Year 12.
Oh. So if we start this with stage 5, by the time they are in stage 6, they're far
But
more.
they're doing it in primary school. Because my
Yes,
daughter's in year
yeah.
5 and they do it as part of their homework. But they've had a lot of problems with it. The kids keep getting locked out and stuff with the one that primary school uses. But they do it. Yeah. And then they go back and look for the time that they're doing.
This is an example of what Claire Espinola, who's probably a B range kind of a kid, with her Tumblr.
Have you got Tumblr there? I was going to,
Yeah,
yeah.
plug it in. I don't know.